go ahead and call it a meeting to order. This is a special meeting on July 9th, 2024, the Del Norte Local Transportation Commission. Invite you, if you would, all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will enter into a general public comment period. Anyone wishing to make a public comment regarding matters either on or off the agenda and within the Commission's jurisdiction can do so at this time. However, the Commission is not permitted to act on non-agendized item. Seeing there's no one here in the chambers with us, we don't have any attendees online, it doesn't look like, so we'll close public comment. We'll adjourn to the Policy Advisory Committee. We have some items on consent, the minutes from November 7th, 2023, the Title VI update, along with the Resolution 2024-1, public participation plan update, the South Beach Climate Resilience Plan contract with GHD, and the 2023 fiscal audit. Anything on consent that anyone wants to pull for discussion? Okay. I have a motion to approve the items on consent.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second, Mr. Howard and Mr. Greenow. Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a poll vote, please.
Okay, Commissioner Inscore?
Yes.
Commissioner Borges?
Yes.
Commissioner Short?
Yes.
Commissioner Greenow?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Altman?
Yes.
And Tasha Alstrand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Under Policy Administrative, the county requests for planning grant match funding. Tamara.
The county is applying for a climate adaptation planning grant that is a pretty significant amount. We don't have the total dollar amount yet. I did certainly at the posting of the agenda. I believe that they're still working on it. They have maybe another few days to a week to get.
Excuse me, Tamara. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
I should be on mute.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'll start over. The County of Del Norte is applying for a climate adaptation planning grant, and this will only be a small portion of the match funding required should that a grant be fully funded. I need to put a placeholder in the overall work program, which is also in this agenda later, but you know, order is important. And so this allows me to put in a placeholder dollar amount for the details really to be worked out later. I expect that if the grant is awarded, they will need at least this amount of money, and if they need more money, then we will come back to the commission. At the TAC level, we'll try and work something out and then come back to the commission for approval on this. But the TAC discussed this at length, and it has voted to move forward with this also.
Okay, questions?
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Commissioner Howard made a motion, we approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. One of you. By Commissioner Short. All right. Any other questions for Tamara? So we're talking about a placeholder. This is not our final stab at this, is being able to provide support.
I believe that this is a placeholder and that we will work out details later.
Okay. And I still see we don't have any attendees, so we will we'll close our public comment on this, and we'll bring it back to the commission for a vote. Susan, please.
Okay, Commissioner Borges?
Yes.
Commissioner Short?
Yes.
Commissioner Greenow?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Altman?
Yes.
Tasha Alstrand?
Yes.
Chair Inscore?
Yes. Very good. Thank you. Item G is the draft 24-25 overall work program. Tamara.
So the overall work program represents all of the work for the commission for a fiscal year beginning July 1, ending June 30th. And in this work program, there's actually not much new. We have projects that are carrying forward from the current year. The 24 Regional Transportation Plan is in this work program. It should be done by December 2024. So finishing up in the next year, and the Climate Change Adaptation Planning Grant will take much longer than that. It will be certainly in this next year's work program. And the rest of the work is the regular work of the commission. There isn't anything that's much different or special or changed other than the work that we're already doing. And I know that you guys, I keep saying this and I'm going to keep saying this, we used to do more work. But we haven't received any additional planning funds since 2013, so we're still operating on $2013 dollars. So when I take a look at my work program now compared to 10 years ago, I used to do more work to deliver the work. And now there's less work, even with the planning grant, which is really significant. It's going to feel like a bit of a burden for a year or so. But it's not a way to fund a mandated role in a region for transportation projects. The state used to be committed in this area to fund the work that needs to be done. And right now we're barely doing the minimum. What really has saved us in this work program is that not only do we have the Climate Change Adaptation Planning Grant, but the Rebel Coast Transit Authority also applied for and received a planning grant that takes the burden off of us, transportation planning, to fund the transit planning work. They've gotten a grant to fund the transit planning work. Their planning work is mandated to be updated every 5 years. So we have these requirements in order to remain eligible for public funding, and we're having a harder and harder time meeting the requirements. So we apply for grants when we can, but it's not a way to fund a mandated requirement to remain eligible for funding. And it's a complicated topic, and the state is probably as tired, or even more so, of hearing me say this than you all are, but I'm going to continue to say it. We are working on $2013 dollars, and even if we were to update to, have like a cost of living, working change in the RPA funding, it doesn't account for the last 10 years of not having, we're just get a little bit further behind every year because we do a little bit less work every year. So the overall work program, I think in the next 10 years, unless something significant changes, is going to continue to be simple like this. Even with the significant planning grant, we are still just getting by because the planning grants are really targeted to special projects, not your regular daily work. So I'm not talking about special project like the South Beach Climate Resilience Plan. I'm talking about the regular daily work, the Regional Transportation Plan, the Short Range Transit Plan, the active transportation planning, those things that are required to keep us current and eligible for funding. So this is where we are. We looked at this whole thing with the Technical Advisory Committee. These spreadsheets represent a draft of what the budget and the work will be for 2024-25. And after you approve this work to go forward, I will put together the entire package of the overall work program, and we will move that forward. And acknowledging that with this Climate Change Adaptation Planning Grant, we're going to have some amendments because we are approving a contract today. The contract doesn't align exactly with the grant application, but we can't amend things until we have them first. So the first step is to have them. We have them now, and in the next meeting, we will probably be amending both the current year and next year's overall work program, depending on the timing, how all things come together. So the amendments are going to be just part of the process, and they're normal and expected as we align the actual work that's going to be done to my best guess in the request for proposals.
Any questions for Tamara on the work plan? Okay. All right, seeing none then, I see no attendees, so we'll close any public comment, and we're looking for a motion to approve the draft 24-25 work program.
I move that by consensus, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Second.
all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Very good. Moving on then, I click back here. What am I missing? H, the Redwood Coast Transit Authority, the SB 125 formula-based funding.
So this item I would typically have in the consent area, but I thought this is the first time that it's appearing on our agenda. We'll talk about it. Going forward, it will probably just be consent agenda items. The SB 125 is really transit funding. The Redwood Coast Transit Authority makes the decisions about the funding. As we talked in last meeting, RCTA hasn't claimed administrative funds, and they may or may not. I believe that it's their administration, not my administration, that needs to be funded with this work. They put the majority of the work getting the submission together. They hired a consultant to help them with that. So they have some direct and indirect expenses in getting their whole plan and package together, sent to me for my signature, and then back and submitted to the state. In regions where there is more than one eligible recipient, they have more of a conversation. We only have one eligible recipient for transit funding, so we act more like a pass-through, not only a pass-through, but more like a pass-through with the decision-making authority, really with Redwood Coast Transit Authority, and not with us as a governing board. It's really a transit decision to set the priorities and to develop the programs for transit. We still have to be an authorizing and approving body, so that's where we're sort of an administrative oversight for transit in some of the funding. This is one of those areas. So there are documents that I will need to sign also moving forward. And Joe and I just work together, Joe Rye and I just work together to keep everything going along. It works pretty well.
Any questions for Tamara? No. I only had one question, Tamara. Do we have, obviously we have a front end responsibility of authorizing the allocation of the funding. Do we have a back end responsibility of ensuring that the allocation that we gave was used in alignment with the funding source?
We do, but there's a lot of state oversight on that also.
Okay.
A significant amount of state oversight on that. So it's not, they're not getting a check and then spending the check. They're having authorization to do a certain amount of work. They need to track their project with the state of California, submit their invoices, all of those things to get anything moving forward. So, well, you know, I do read the transit agendas, attend some of the meetings. The transit manager, Joe Ryan, and I work well together. We are not by any means, we are a minor part of the oversight for how the money is spent when compared to Caltrans and the oversight that Caltrans gives for the money for SB 125 or any transit funding, really. There's a significant amount of oversight.
Okay, very good, thank you. If we don't have anything else and no public comment, then I'm looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2024-2 for the SB 125 formula-based transit and intercity rail and zero admission transit capital program allocation for 23-24.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Greenow, seconded by Commissioner Short. Would you please pull the vote?
Yes, Commissioner Altman,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno,
Yes.
Commissioner Short,
Yes.
Commissioner Borges.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Commissioner Borges? Okay, thank you. Tasha Ostrand? Yes. And Chair Inscore.
Yes. Very good. Milestones?
There is a specific milestone that I'd like to bring your attention to in the milestones report, and that's near the maybe 8, I'm guessing, spaces from the last item is the Del Norte STAA improvements project. If there's any project that you want to keep track of on here, this is a big one to track. So as was reported a little bit in the County Board of Supervisors meeting this morning, the STAA projects were a big lift for us. The projects, I accomplished this goal in 2008 when our portion of the project was fully funded. And then, but it is, we have to remember, this is Caltrans work. It was Caltrans work then, it's Caltrans work today. Caltrans is the owner and operator of the state highway system. So while we helped to get the funding together, then there was the litigation and everything stopped. And approximately after 10 years, 9 to 10 years of litigation, the courts ruled in our favor and the projects are moving forward. Thank you, Caltrans District 1, for continuing to work with us on this. You know, I mean, thank you to, you know, all of the boards who supported this over time, and there are a lot of them. A lot of boards adopted resolutions to support this work over the last 10, 15 years, and repeatedly, because we had to go back to them. And, you know, I mean, some folks were just, you know, I mean, just really hit hard on this. You know, Chris Howard's one of them who's still here, but it didn't start with Chris Howard. You know, it's, well, maybe it did, but in a different role. You know, that was way back when he was young and not even a county supervisor. I mean, this has been really a big lift for us.
Thanks, Tim.
So the projects, the projects in
It was last century, sure enough. You're right, Blake.
So when the litigation started, the projects cost in accumulation, all of the projects together were about $34 million. Now they are funded at about $60 million. So when folks ask about the cost of the litigation, that isn't the cost of the litigation. That's just the cost escalation over 10 years for the projects to be delivered. It doesn't include any attorney fees, any staff time, and Caltrans over the years has put in a ton of staff time and paid a ton of attorney fees. So it's, you know, this is where we are. It's something to watch. It's an accomplishment that we should all acknowledge and be proud of because, you know, our community has stuck with this over time. And it's a way that regions fail to deliver on work that's important to their communities is they can't focus on the priority for long enough to actually get it delivered. And I'm so grateful to be in a community where we work together and we can focus together on the importance of this and we can hold it together through all of this changes and all of these boards and all of the things that have happened in the last 14 years to really get this project, you know, moving forward. The environmental documents are done and the schedule is going to continue to appear in this chart. And, you know, we can have updates from the project manager, Dave Melendres, who's also the PM for Dr. Fine Bridge, whenever we want or need them. But it's a big, important project. Certainly it's important to me. I think it's really going to make a difference for safety in our community. I really do. All of the locations in this work are locations that are in the top 10% of serious injury and fatality locations, according to our safety study that we're doing. So it's a big, important project for us. And I just couldn't be more pleased that we're moving forward.
Very good. Thank you.
Tam, are you going to touch on the roundabout?
Absolutely. We can talk about the roundabout. Also in the December California Transportation Commission meeting, the roundabout on US 199 at Elk Valley Crossroad was funded. When that roundabout was imagined, it was at about a $3.5 million cost. I believe that now it's about an $8 million cost. I'm using rough numbers here. I think the most significant, and I don't have a lot of details about this, and I don't think you're looking for a lot of details, but I can bring more information back should you need it. But it's about using longer lasting paving for the roundabout. So using concrete rather than asphalt. That kind of a change that really makes the cost go up, but makes the product so much better. So I'm basically grateful that we're going to build this roundabout, and we're going to build it in a way that lasts and that is easy to maintain over time, rather than something that ends up being a maintenance problem over time. So I'm grateful for that. Yeah. And then we can also talk about, once a year, Caltrans gives a presentation to the California Transportation Commission about last chance grade. And we were there at the CTC meeting at Caltrans' request. Chris Howard and I both went to talk about last chance grade and this other work, but they really requested that we be there because, as Chris said in the County Board of Supervisors meeting earlier, the CTC membership has changed since 2019, all but one members. So there's one member of the California Transportation Commission who was on the board when we had our town hall meeting here in Del Norte County in 2019.
Wow.
And so it's all new to people. They're like, where is this? Oh, is it still in California? No, they don't say that. But, they haven't been there. They don't see it. And it's a big wow moment when you're standing there looking at it. There isn't, any amount of photos that can really show you that the damage and also, how isolated US 101 is in that area. That the idea that there isn't a workaround for people who live in most areas of the state, they don't really grasp it, that there actually is no other road. And that's unusual for most of the state of California. You can, most of the time get around in a different way, but we can't on Highway 101 at last chance grade. So there are some big topics there. We've hit a major milestone. You can read on lastchancegrade.com. You can read the information about that. But the environmental documents are out for public comment right now, and that's a major milestone in this project. And Caltrans is really moving forward on this project. In terms of their anticipated timeline, they're doing a really bang-up good job on meeting the timeline that they made a commitment to, or even, exceeding that expectation for timing.
We should all have received town hall invitations yesterday from Jamie Mavioli. Hopefully you guys all got those for the invitation this month for the last chance grade town hall.
Is that the?
I didn't get it.
There's another one for the safety project around Damnation Creek. Is that a different one?
That meeting is tonight,
No,
but I didn't receive an email. But I can reach out and make sure we get it.
I just,
I got it.
you got it?
Oh, yeah, I didn't either.
Sorry.
No?
I'll forward it.
It's on the 24th. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's on the 24th of this month?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I expect that's posted at lastchancegrade.com. I'll reach in and grab that, share it with everybody, and get in touch with Jamie about with that also.
We're anticipating the electives to make some kind of comment. I think the mayor would be appropriate.
So this document, this milestones report, is you know, once you get used to the way that they write it, it has a lot of information in there. And if you need more information about any of these projects, you can just send me an email and I can, you know, share with you the information about the project that's online. It's usually a pretty significant amount of work that they post online, so you can really get a good feel about a project. And I don't mind getting you in touch with anything that you want more information about. I also asked the Caltrans PIO today, Public Information Officer, to update the US 199 information on its website, something similar to what we have at with the Dr. Fine Bridge public information, because folks are going to start asking questions.
Okay. All righty. Covers our milestones. That's the last item on our agenda. Anything from the committee, Policy Advisory Committee, before we adjourn and reconvene as the Transportation Commission?
I have a question for the director. Tam, is there any update Is there any update currently on the 199 corridor study that was initiated last year? It seems like we haven't heard anything.
We were supposed to be meeting in December, and they delayed that meeting and the final report, I think, for 2 months. I don't have a date or a schedule for that meeting yet.
Okay.
But I'll make sure that you get it when I receive it.
Thank you.
I just have one question. Do we have any update on the bank stabilization project for Pebble Beach at all?
So the bank stabilization projects right now are city projects and county projects, and not Transportation Commission projects. So that question would be best directed to your own boards and not to me. It's not my staff work at this time.
Okay.
It may become part of my work in the future, but right now we've funded match funding, and the projects then, you know, so the city and county, they have conversations with their boards and their own staff, and they say, we need match funding. They come to the Transportation Commission, they've been awarded some match funding, and then they go back to do their work. So it's not part of my work right now. And if I were to answer those questions, I would actually go to city staff or county staff and ask for the answers and then share it.
Okay. I was directing it at my county members, that question. If we have any updates.
Not my area.
No, yeah, no updates that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah, my understanding, now this is just an understanding and not direct knowledge, is that the California Coastal Commission is not assisting the projects in moving forward at this time.
Okay.
I mean, the sort of the real brief concept is even if they were, the cost escalations have gone at such an exponential rate that there's, even with the funding, the federal funding, the state funding, even if you get down to the 3% that the city and the county would have to come up with, those numbers are so astronomical at this point in time that there's no other funding source for either one of us to do the project. It just becomes so expensive that which is kind of crazy when you think if you got 97% of the project is paid for, and it's so expensive that 3% that neither one of our local municipalities can afford to do it.
Yeah, not without a change on the federal level for sure.
Well, I mean, again, they've already come up to, I mean, the state and federal already come up to 97%, but the cost of what is expected to do in order to accomplish the project, the 3% is beyond either one of our budgetary abilities to pay.
It's certainly beyond the Transportation Commission's ability to pay.
Is that Biden?
I can say that we, you know, we receive right now in RSTP funding, it's up to around $400,000 a year with some of the new funding that we have through SB1. It's around just maybe a little more, a little less in that range. The amount of match funding that those projects will need far exceed anything that we would be able to provide through the Transportation Commission's funding sources.
It's frustrating.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is unless we are able to get like a federal allocation, it's probably not going to happen. Is that what you guys are thinking?
I mean, that it is a federal allocation as part of the, as the, from the storm event from 16?
Sure, that's what I mean.
I don't.
To include our match funding.
Oh,
if
yeah,
there was any way we could get
I don't
that
think that there's a strategy that allows for the federal government to give us more than what they've given us. So
Okay.
that's the frustrating
Yeah,
thing.
And generally, Tam could speak to this better, we're prohibited from utilizing another federal or state funding source if
Yep.
they're already coming in. So it'd have to be some other private nonprofit or our government dollars putting up those dollars.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find solutions to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so-
think that we can use state funds to match federal funds,
Yep.
but we don't have access to state funds that will meet those match requirements, not even close. We, the Transportation Commission,
For sure.
you know, that's the, you know, from this position.
Yeah, it's just frustrating to me that it's gone on for so long because of, I'll just say it, the Coastal Commission, they refused to let this project go forward. And now we're at a state where we cannot afford it. It's really frustrating that we have these consequences to these decisions that are out of our hands.
What's the same point that Tamara made about the 199, 197?
For sure.
Yeah.
Is you're talking about something that has almost doubled in price because of delays. This is just a different type of delay, but you know, every time you delay anything, you know, that clicker just starts clicking over and over and over again. And now the reality is where we had all these price escalations and we called it supply chain issues and so forth. Once the supply chain was restored, why didn't prices go down?
Never does.
Exactly. And that's the hard part about major infrastructure projects in rural California is if we can't get them done in a timely manner, we won't get them done at all. That's just the reality because we get priced out so quickly.
Unless it's a Caltrans project, in which case the state
Sure, well, yeah.
Right.
takes care of it.
But it's also the reason why Front Street is something to be proud of.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that we're accomplishing Front Street, the city is accomplishing Front Street, is really something to be proud of. You add about $1.2 million a block. That's a big lift for the city of Crescent City, and they've done a bang-up good job. I mean, the Transportation Commission has helped, but the city has done a bang-up good job in continuing to work and to stay focused on that project long enough to find a solution to get it done.
Yep. Okay, if we don't have anything else, then we're going to adjourn as the Policy Advisory Committee and reconvene as the Del Norte Local Transportation Commission, and I'm looking for a motion to approve the actions that we have taken.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Greenow, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Borges. Would you, we still don't have any other public, so close public comment. Susan, would you poll the vote, please?
Commissioner Howard.
Yes.
Commissioner Altman.
Yes.
Commissioner Greeno.
Yes.
Commissioner Short.
Yes.
Commissioner Borges.
Yes.
And Chair Inscourt.
Yes, very good. All right, unless there's something else, Tasha, if you have anything for us or anything, I guess I should have already asked, or Tamara, anybody else have anything before we close?
Thank you, I have nothing today.
All right, thank you. All right, we will stand adjourned until our next meeting on Tuesday, February 6th, right here. Thank you.
And I do think we'll meet on February 6th. I think that we'll have a contract amendment. I think we'll amend a work program, just continue to work to get this South Beach planning moving forward.